Hi, everyone. Welcome to our series of video blogs where we introduce different leaders at flydocs, sharing their insights on aviation industry and its digital transformation, emerging technologies, and enabling partnerships. I'm Kshitija Sharma, lead corporate communication at flydocs, and I'm joined by my dear colleague, Vicky Karpuzova, lead generation and campaign manager at flydocs. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, Kshitija. Really excited for today's session.
Definitely. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with André Fischer, Chief Executive Officer at flydocs, about the ecosystems and alliances in the aviation industry. With a focus on the partnership model and a vision to become the go-to asset management platform in aviation, André heads the flydocs leadership team and comes with a wealth of leadership and senior management experience of over 25 years, with significant business growth and sustainable relationship management skills in the aviation technology space. Hi, André. Happy to have you here today.
Hi, Kshitija. Nice to meet you. And yeah, I'm also quite excited about the next couple of minutes.
First question to you is, how has the pandemic affected the aviation industry, and what changes do we witness post-pandemic?
I think that's probably the most fundamental question that partially still needs to be answered, because I believe that we're still partially in the crisis at the moment. But what we can see already is that I think one of the effects in our industry is that we see that it has a strong impact on our talent resources, I would say, at the moment. You know, the way that we are able to manage a crisis has been, I wouldn't say similar to the way that we've seen this in the past, but the impact it has on our own resources and our talent, our colleagues, has been quite fundamental, because what we've seen is that a lot of talents have left the industry now. And we see the challenges now when airlines and operators are starting to ramp up the operations again, where we see a lack of resources. And a lot of talents have decided to move away from aviation because of its volatility, of the risk, maybe even a loss of attractiveness of the industry, and they have to turn towards other industries. And I believe that a lot of those talents will not come back now. And the fundamental question is, how can we be more attractive again to the talents and position ourselves here? And here the partnership model is, I think, a good example. Maybe even an example that we at flydocs were able to live here, to say we go through the crisis together, but we also give people an outlook to say, once the crisis is gone, there's a good opportunity to grow again and go back on the individual growth path for the talents as well here. And I give you an example. A lot of the adjustments that we had to take during the crisis ourselves, basically work from home, adjustment in the work hour schemes as well, you know, coming from the crisis here, in the end became permanent changes to us as an organization. And while those were measures to manage the crisis, now these things offer our employees a greater degree of flexibility and to manage their personal life and their professional life. And what we see as well is that due to the trust that we have, and the well-deserved trust, I have to say, what we see is that people are very carefully managing that and are very responsible for that. And these are changes, I believe, which will be permanent. The other thing is, when you go through a crisis and you ask your employees to contribute to manage those crises, you have to consider that during the good days, you have to give something back to your people as well here. You cannot, so it's not a one-way road only, and the partnership model applies here as well. So, and luckily last year, for example, we were able to give some of the contributions that we were asking our employees to give during the crisis back to them. And that makes me extremely proud as an organization, because I don't think that all organizations are doing that. But at the same time, I sense that there was a strong trust of our own employees in us, in the organization, and in the capability to recover during the crisis. And we were able to pay that trust back and earn that trust, basically, as part of the partnership model. And this is the biggest changes that I personally see in the industry, and specifically for flydocs.
Okay. In your view, although you touched upon this a little bit already, what are the elements of the aviation ecosystem that may impact the future of the industry?
That's a really good question, because it gives more an outlook into the future here. I think at the center of all, the clients are as part of the ecosystem. So the question really is, what do clients want? And one of the answers, the questions which is still not answered, I would say, is the question around sustainability of the business model of aviation in total. One element is the CO2 production and the neutrality that we're trying to get into the industry. The utilization of resources in terms of material, surplus material, and so on and so forth. digitization over paper-based work is a good example, and so on and so forth. So these are questions which are out there at the moment. And I believe customers will be more and more asking and demanding specific answer to those questions here. And this is one critical element of that. The other one is the attractiveness of talents, or to talents in our industry. When I started as a young engineer, I think aviation was probably one of the most attractive industries to work in. And we have to be realistic. These days are over. And what we see is a shortage of talents in the future. We see it already, you know, from baggage loaders to security staff to engineers coming into the industry, or better to say, not coming into the industry anymore. And we have to think about ways of becoming attractive to those young talents again. This is, you know, a question of wages maybe, but it's more about career growth potentials, but also, you know, flexibility in work schemes, working hours, work from home schemes, and so on and so forth. And I think these are things that we need to give answers to. Again, you know, that positions us as a partner. And the third question is the utilization of technology. How can we leverage technology in a better way to compensate for the existing risks in our industry? And I believe with the introduction of machine learning and artificial intelligence, there is a huge potential for us to manage those risks better. Also in form of a partnership model, and I guess we come to that slightly later as well to give specific answers to that. But these are the three elements. It's sustainability, attractiveness to talents, and the utilization of technology.
Okay, so yeah, continuing on from what you just said about technology, what role does technology really play in enabling partnerships in the aviation industry?
I think it's going to be the key. And it's less about, I believe, the capability to design the best technology ourselves in the future, because that will take forever. Let's be realistic. But there are a lot of really good companies outside of aviation already providing good technology solutions who could be easily integrated into our industry as well. And I believe those parties who understand the partnership model as such, to say, I'm the best one to integrate partner and an existing technology into my solution in the future, probably will make the race over others who try to invent everything in-house. Culturally, our industry has been very much focused on building a lot of solutions in-house. I think that mentality has to go away. Instead of that, we have to replace this with the partnership model to say, actually, I'm looking for an adequate and suitable partner who's got the knowledge, the expertise, and the skills to help me to utilize and integrate that technology into my core products in the future. And this is, you know, again, leveraging the partnership model here.
Right. So coming from the alliances aspects, can you share the alliances flydocs has in the aviation industry? And if you can name a few of our partners and how are these alliances redefining the space altogether?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think we have a long history already of having those partnerships, and maybe utilizing one of the longest one that we have is with Swiss AS. It's an M&E system provider, probably with one of the most known products in our industry, where we were able years ago already to establish an interface which enables our end clients in the end to really go through a digital workflow, which is seamless. So people don't have to go from one system into another one. Actually, they can perform certain tasks in one system. It automatically is being reflected in another system. Yeah. And this is really a good example where a partnership allows us to offer that kind of seamless workflow integration here to the benefits of our clients. Other partnerships that we have is with CETA and the Emerald blockchain. So it's basically a consortium of 8 existing industry players, where we have the question of what kind of pain points do we have in the industry at the moment that we can get resolved by the utilization of blockchain. The beauty of that partnership, for example, was that really the main focus in the beginning was around finding solutions for existing pain points. The entire discussion about monetization potential has been parked and put to the back here, because the focus really was about finding a solution to existing problems as part of a partnership model here. And that worked pretty well, because a lot of the things that were designed in the last 2.5 years as part of this partnership here were based on the better understanding of problems existing across different boundaries in the industry. So getting away from this very isolated view of this is what I'm doing and this is my problem into a more holistic view to say, if I solve this part of a problem, it may not impact me directly, but it impacts other partners down the line here already, and it helps to solve a lot of problems. And this is a good example. Other partnerships that we just established is SGI Aviation, where we realized we were designing a new asset management module for our platform. And we saw we needed a competent partner existing in this space already helping us to design this product, because simply we didn't have the expertise. But we said we need a partner for that, to have that expertise. And they really helped us to design the product in a way that end clients would look at it. And they also help us to bring this product into the market much faster than we could be doing this ourselves here. And these are good examples of partnerships. Other partnerships, basically around technology companies, a lot of them at the moment where we leverage existing technologies to the benefit of our products here.
Perfect. And how do partnerships accelerate growth for flydocs?
One element is the go-to-market speed, because we don't have to do things and design things all ourselves, which can take quite a while. We can lean on existing solutions, integrate those solutions faster into our products here. That helps us to accelerate, as I said, the going to market approach here, which of course, obviously in the end turns into faster business success here. The other one is that we can offer different client bases, those seamless solutions, which we weren't able to do before. So we can approach those existing clients faster by offering them an integrated solution as part of an ecosystem. So the whole value proposition is suddenly very different, very more attractive, much more attractive to clients. And it's more obvious for those clients to say, hey, if I work with, let's say, I'm using Swiss Airs, for example, at the moment. If I work with Swiss Airs, it makes total sense to work with flydocs as well, and the other way around, because they offer me that seamless integrated solution here. And it really simplifies the whole conversation around products and the product integration.
That's great to hear. Such an insightful discussion today, and some very interesting takeaways from this session. Well, André, unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. But thanks very much for taking us through the aviation ecosystems and the flydocs alliances. We really appreciate your time, and have a lovely day.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Vicky. Thanks a lot, Chichi. And yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.